Good day, fine people. Thank you for joining me. My name is Nick. We're on the Commodore 64 this time, having a bit of stress busting with a game called Turmoil, published by Sirius Software in 1983. It's a shooter we've already reviewed on the Atari 2600, which came out a year earlier, 1982, by Activision. So I believe this is a port from that one, so we'll see how the thing plays. But you control a ship in a central column. You must flip left or right to shoot all the enemies on the screen. As soon as you do so, get to the next stage, and occasionally there'll be sort of like bonus items you go down the cavern and get. So here's number one. Here we go. Looks very like the Atari 2600, that bit, almost as if they... Yes. Now, I can hear a noise in the background. It's like the disc whirring, but this is emulation there. It looks like they've tried to make it look like exactly like the Atari 2600 version, or as close as they can get it. They should have gone in their own direction, really. So it's more or less like an Atari 26 emulation, rather than the Commodore 64 on its own. It doesn't control quite as well, to be honest with you. It feels a little bit awkward. Shoots slightly quicker than that other version. Now, if you had this game back in the day, let me know. It's a fairly basic shooter, but it was 1983, so it's very, very early days. Now, my life's in the bottom there. I've got two left. Yeah, I don't like this, funnily enough, basic as it is. I much prefer the Atari 2600 version, so check out that review if you haven't already. But I thought I'd give this one a go. So already the makers of this one have tried to recreate what was already on that other system, rather than trying to create a new version that took advantage of what the Commodore 64 had to offer. Yes, and it's a bit more for that. It's a little bit more difficult. It's not immediately accessible either. I'm not a big fan of this one so far, but we'll give it a few more goes. These reviews aren't about expert gameplay, but seeing how you would have got on the game on the first or second go. Now, if you had no knowledge... Oh, God, it's got stuck. What's going on there? If you had no knowledge of the Atari 2600 version, you probably might have persisted with this one. But it's awkward. The controls feel a little bit clunky, but it might be just the version that I'm playing, admittedly. If you played it back in the day, you might have a better understanding of the thing. Now, those white circles, they're eggs or missiles there. We can collect those for bonus points, but they only stay there a certain amount of time before they turn into missiles and fire along the central chamber there. Or horizontally across. Anyway, it's a game I might have played every now and again, but I wouldn't have run home from school to play it. I wouldn't have dreamt of playing it. It certainly wouldn't have been my go-to game if friends come around and I was trying to impress them. So it looks very, very basic and done better on a different system, so I could live without it. I think it would have scored okay back in the day, but I obviously don't try and look at reviews in case I'm influenced. It's okay, it does what it should do, but controls a bit clunky compared to that other version that I mentioned. Now, if you're liking your Commodore 64 type stuff, review a few systems on the channel, most notably ZX Spectrum, but we have got a playlist of Commodore 64. If you want to know how to get there, go through a bit of a nostalgia fest. You click on my username, takes you to the channel page, click on the playlist tab, and Commodore 64 will be there along with a load of other stuff. And it's game over, dude, game over, as Hudson said. Was it Hudson in Aliens? Game over, man, game over. Yes, well, I sound a bit like Homer Simpson then. But there are different stages here. At one point the walls go invisible, so it gets extra super difficult. I'm getting a little bit disturbed. I don't know if you can hear it on the recording. The disc emulation is still buzzing in the background. I need that to turn itself off. So this is by Sirius Software, original version by Activision. A year gap between the two. Please subscribe if you watched this far into the video. It helps the channel continue. But I'm struggling to look at this as a Commodore 64 game, you know. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit anything else. I mean, that ship in the middle could have been a lot better. It could have been heaps better with what the Commodore 64 could have done. And also, they could have put a bit of music on it. I hope this was released as a budget label, but other than that, if it was a full price game, it would have been one to avoid. But, oh, we got to stage 2. Well done us. I think on the Atari 2600 review, I got to stage 4 or 5. Maybe I'm just remembering it wrong. Right, okay. You've got to be a bit precise here. Base left or right, shoot the enemy. You don't need to shoot all of them. I think you just need to survive. Seems to be a lot more bonus things going on. I'll tell you what, on this version, it's harder to return to the centre chamber. That's what's making it a little bit more difficult. Yeah, see, I didn't quite get quite in the middle. It's tricky to get there. There's a missile going backward and forward there too now. Oh, man. Maybe you can play this with a cheat on it, but, you know, the positives of the game in itself is it's quite easy to understand. You know what to do straight away. Just survive as long as you possibly can. It's like a 2D version of Tempest, I suppose. Oh, come on there. Can I get to stage 3? Well, you never know. Could do with a fair win. Not all the enemies are destroyable. Some take quite a few blasting, some don't destroy at all, so it's known how to avoid those. When you're going up and down, don't collide into any of the enemies, which I'm doing quite a lot, to be fair. Very imprecise control mechanism. Let's down the game a little bit. Game over again. I'm getting slightly annoyed with this game. It's the sort of thing I start punching pillows and turning into the Incredible Hulk and my trousers exploding and all that sort of stuff. If you're turning into Incredible Hulk and all your clothes exploding about the place, please comment in the comment section below. That Bruce Banner in the original, who played, who was the Incredible Hulk, affected by gamma rays, in the TV show, his clothes blew up so often, it must have cost him a blooming fortune. Can you get insurance these days for turning into Incredible Hulk? If you know, then let me know in the comment section below. So, Incredible Hulk, he was affected by gamma radiation, as I go off in a tangent, like I always do. Spider-Man, bitten by a radioactive spider. If he'd been bitten by a radioactive dung beetle, that would have been a different show. Dung Beetle Man. And the Incredible Dung Beetle, if he'd got gamma radiation as well, turned into a massive green dung beetle, destroying the city. If you are a massive green dung beetle destroying the city, then comment in the comment section below. Right, let's get back to this game. It's Turmoil. Now, some people would have clicked on this expecting to see a game similar to Turmoil on the ZX Spectrum, which was a platformer where by collecting oil you dropped it over a grid and built a car. This isn't that at all. I don't know if Turmoil, that version, come out on the Commodore 64. If you know, let me know and I'll track the thing down, but I love that game. That's better than this, I'd have to admit. So I think you know what I think about this game already. Basic, you know what to do straight away. Controls are a lot more clunky than the Atari 2600 version. They haven't made it an original Commodore 64 version. They've been a bit lazy in that respect. They've just done a clean port. So if you want to play a version, then it's available to you. Play the Atari 2600 because it's slightly easier and a bit more fun. There we go. It's not the most advanced Commodore 64 game in the world, but it would have pleased some people who've got the hang of the thing, and there's no excuse for the basicness of that ship in the middle for this system. Right. 4 lives left. I can't seem to turn in the opposite direction now. What's happening there? Maybe. No, there we go. Just about done it. It's getting worse as I go on. Maybe it's something that I'm doing. Maybe it hasn't loaded properly. That sometimes happens. Well, rarely happens, but it happens every now and again. These are how I would have found the game my first or second go. So there's always a chance I might be missing something obvious, which people in the comment section will always say. I'll have a brief look at the instructions. It's a bit about seeing how you would have done as a kid. You wouldn't have read pages and pages. You would just load the thing up and play straight away. And quite often, if you're as fickle as I was, if you weren't good straight away, you wouldn't play it very often. But there we go. And that's the experience I'm trying to recreate. So that here, not everyone gets it, but they're not walkthroughs. I'm glad that you get it. There. You always get someone to comment about saying, I've already said in the video because I've only watched none of it, or the first 20 seconds or something. There we go. Boo! Biffity biffity buff. That's a special word for you. Write that down in your notebooks to use in everyday usage. I don't like that game over sound either. It's like it's a bit like a hedgehog being ill. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's going on there? That could have been a bit more exciting. Maybe ba 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 ba. Something a bit more up and at 'em. Up and at 'em. Right. Yes, this won't go down as my favourite Commodore 64 game. It's there, but it could be a lot better. Maybe put a few bonus games or add to the existing game that was there before. Give it something. But it is what it is. Enemies could be a bit more exciting as well. I think it would have scored average. I'm not over impressed with it. But you probably know that already. Thank you, subscribers, and a huge thank you. I always shout out to the members there for keeping this thing going. I know I don't do quite as many videos as I did before. I mean, the extra like vlogs and stuff. I'd love to do those, but very, very tough times at the moment trying to survive. So yeah, thank you for your help and super thanks and all that sort of stuff. But the channel will continue as long as I've got breath in my body in some descriptions. But because the stress button is important, mental health awareness. That when I go to work, I wear this green like flag brooch thing which represents mental awareness, so I try and see it in other people and try and lift their day at least a little bit. You don't have to go overboard, but you can see it in other people. Just ask them how they are, if they're feeling a bit down, and that'd probably be welcomed. Right. It's quite easy to feel alone sometimes in life, but you're not alone. There's lots of people going through similar stuff. Look at me going off into that. But, you know, that's what the channel basically is about. Stress busting. The games, although it's good for retro, and it's very important, but primarily it's mental health awareness and stress busting, folks. So there we go. We live in also a more easier time when we were kids that had less things to worry about. Boom, boom. It's hedgehog time again. Right, it's definitely going to be our last go, then we'll get out of here, I promise. Turmoil. I don't know why it's called turmoil. There's no oil involved. Turmoil generally means a state of chaos, doesn't it? So perhaps that is what it is. If you was in a ship in a central chamber going up and down shooting aliens coming at you from 7 caves, I suppose that would be turmoil, wouldn't it? I don't think that's ever happened to me. I'll have to check my diary from those years. But if it's happened to you, then comment in the comment section below. How much turmoil are you in? Good. Not to get confused with turtle oil, of course, which they use to grease their bodies for sumo competitions. I might have made that up. If it's on Wikipedia, it must be true. Shooting, baby. Yeah, so I've got to stage 2. I'm struggling with the control mechanism, of course, but yeah. Alright, but not really impressive. Could have been done a lot better. Not really taking advantage of the Commodore 64's things. It's a straight port and it's, you know, very, very basic. Try something else. So I hope you liked having a look at that game. That was Turmoil on the Commodore 64, published by Sirius Software in 1983, based on the Atari game from 82 from Activision. Got any comments about this game, similar games, or anything retro, or Atari 2600, by all means put that in the comment section below. You're always more than welcome. Until next time, take great care of yourself, and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm getting slightly annoyed with this game. It's the sort of thing I start punching pillows and turning into the Incredible Hulk and my trousers exploding and all that sort of stuff. If you're turning into Incredible Hulk and all your clothes exploding about the place, please comment in the comment section below.